All right, so this one says consider the equation cosine of theta is equal to negative 3 over 10. If the angle theta, if theta is an angle in quadrant 2, what's the value of tangent of theta? So what we're going to do is remember we know that it's a right triangle, right? But we don't know where it is. So they tell us that it's in quadrant 2. So just a refresher, the XY plane divides into 4 quadrants based on the X and Y axis, right? So they're telling us our triangle lives here. And this is theta. That angle right there, that's theta. So let me sketch that out a little bit. I like to see the visual. Now it's not drawn to scale, but that's okay. So this is theta right here. That means that this is the opposite. And I don't know what that is yet. I know that this is the adjacent. And we'll fill that in. And I know that this is the hypotenuse. Now, remember, for soacahtoa, that cosine of theta is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And so if it's equal to negative 3 over 10, first of all, the hypotenuse is always positive. And in this particular case, in other words, this should be negative 3 and this should be 10, right? Because in order to get to this point here, I got an x value, comma, y value, but that's really like the adjacent length. I don't know why when I use this thing, I always draw a G over, comma, the opposite. So x is like the adjacent and y is like the opposite. And I don't know what this is yet. So I just sketched that over here. Well, they want to know what tangent is. So tangent of theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. Well, I know that the adjacent is negative 3, but I don't know what the opposite is. But that's okay. I could do the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem in trig is O squared plus A squared is equal to H squared. So it's the same as like the old A squared plus B squared equals C squared, except we're replacing C squared with H and A squared with O and B squared with A squared, capital A squared. So anyways, let's plug this in and figure out what it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract A squared from both sides. And that will give me O squared is equal to H squared minus A squared. And then if I take the square root of both sides, I can find the opposite by taking the square root of H squared minus A squared. So the opposite length then is the square root of 10 squared minus negative 3 squared. Well, that is 100 minus 9, positive 9, right? Because negative 3 squared is 9. So that's just 99, the square root of 99. Wait, let me think. No, it's 91. I'm not awake yet. So it's 91. So then the opposite is just the square root of 91. 91 is a prime number. I can't simplify that radical at all. And then the adjacent is just negative 3. So we could just toss that negative to the front and we get the square negative root 91 over 3. And that's it.